Welcome to the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. And if this is your first time here, you get a special welcome. And to all of you who hang out with me on the channel, yes, I'm excited to say that I have reached 45,000. I think it was yesterday that I said I was getting close and I wanted to cross the threshold. So we are there. Appreciate you for every comment, every like, every share, every live stream where we're hanging out. Thank you. Now, onward and upward to 50,000. I shared a story with you before about when I had, I don't know, a few thousand, and someone said, I see you getting to 50,000. That seems so way out there. And actually, it really was just a few months ago when you think about it. And that's thanks to all of you. And I am looking forward to 50,000. But right now, I'm enjoying the 45. Let's get into the topic for this video. I got an opportunity to watch Natasha Howard's introductory press conference. She's an Indiana Fever now, of course. And it wasn't a very long press conference, but it was substantive. And I got quite a bit out of it, some nuggets that I'll be sharing with you right now. So she was there along with Coach Stephanie White, with GM Amber Cox, with President Kelly Krauskopf. And in a little bit of time, they covered a lot of ground. So the first thing I noticed, I'm not in my takeaways yet because I'm going to give you 5 takeaways. But before I even get to those takeaways, I think that's what you call cheating when you give takeaways and you don't count them as takeaways. But anyway, overall, my overview is Natasha Howard comes across as extremely humble. Seems like a sweetheart. Seems like someone who's so grateful to be back home where her career started. And I sensed a humility in her. And she also, it's not always easy to do, but she also has quite a bit of confidence. So to be able to have that confidence and be humble is a beautiful thing. It really is, that we can all have, no matter what our profession is. We see that also in Caitlin Clark, someone who clearly exudes confidence and yet always seems humble and grateful. 5 things I want to highlight about this press conference. Number 1, what I sensed across the board, particularly from the leadership, Kelly, Amber, Stephanie, and that is culture first. I'm going to show you this clip, and then I'm going to give you my take on it because you guys know I'm talking about culture a lot. This is, after all, the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. But let's listen to what was said by Kelly concerning culture.
But I think, initially it did start with every one of these players has a high level of character and integrity. I'm just a real proponent of when talent, shots don't fall. So what do you fall back on? Your culture. You fall back on what kind of person you are. You digging in, those types of things. And those are elements that each player that we have handpicked to be a part of this roster have that. And the young group that we're bringing back, asked us, protect our locker room, protect the culture that we've got started. So that was very intentional. And so, Natasha, knowing her.
I'm going to talk about what she just said and elaborate on that from my perspective. But before I do, this is still a part of the culture, the number 1 takeaway, but it's Stephanie White saying something very simple, but so profound.
And we're not going to sacrifice the culture that we have and that we're going to continue to build, because that's consistency. And with consistency, you have opportunity to win multiple championships, right? And I think when you bring high character people who understand what it means.
Okay, now I weigh in on this. Culture. You heard it from Kelly first. She talked about having character and that character being a part of the culture. And I think this is what makes Indiana so different. There is something special about this team. There is something about character and integrity that flows from this team, which is why when there is a player who doesn't seem to fit the culture, the fans are like, she got to go, because there is something special. And you can hear from Kelly that is something that we're going to nurture character, because this is what she said that's so valuable. And this is why I speak this so much. When the shots are not falling, when you're losing games, what do you have? You have culture, you have character, you have integrity. So if you can ball out, as people say, but your character is a cancer, so to speak, you don't have anything. And this is why I've taken people saying you're wrong about XYZ player. I don't even need to name, don't even need to name whoever it is. It's whoever it is. And I say that, and people say over and over, but that's a baller, but that's a baller, but that's a baller. And you know what? This team has decided that culture first, integrity first, character first. Now, I don't know what all that's going to look like when it's all said and done and what fits their description of that. But I know I heard Stephanie come behind Kelly and say, we are not going to sacrifice the culture. We even talked about, protecting the locker room. That means protecting those relationships and not letting, not whatever may have happened, didn't happen with what Cheryl Swoop said about whatever was in the locker room. I don't know, but she said that they came to us. I believe that was Kelly who said they came to us and said, please protect the locker room. We need people in here who will protect the locker room. Yeah, we need protection out on the court. I hear a lot of you talking about enforcer, but they're also talking about what's said in the locker room, relationship to the locker room, even dissension that may be in the locker room. That's what character and integrity will do for you. And people will sacrifice talent. Good organizations, they will sacrifice talent before they will sacrifice peace, which has to do with the culture you create. So that's the number one thing that stood out for me. Okay. Number two, which really could be 1A, because it has to do with culture. And that is that they talked about trust. Kelly said relationships matter.
And there's a trust in how we believe in each other. Natasha trusted us. She trusted Amber. Those relationships matter. And I think if I've been doing this a long time, and you build relationships, and it all comes back around. It's this full circle moment for Natasha, for us, for me to have her back here. So those are things when that you've met somebody, maybe it's a player or a coach or somebody on your staff. You think, if I ever have a chance to work with that person, we're going to do big things. And I think that familiarity is something that really sets you up for success.
Beautiful. Relationships matter. Like I said, that could be 1A because it's totally about the culture. Relationships first. You may remember when Caitlin did the Pro-Am interview, and they asked her about the number one factor of leadership, and she said relationships. So true. Okay, number 3. Got 5 takeaways. Remember, this is number 3. Natasha Howard. She is excited to be on the team. She's excited to be back. She talked about the team. She talked about the big 3. And I thought it was interesting when she said this.
My teammates, just getting to know my teammates on and off the court. Because that's one thing I actually want to know is my teammates first, and then know them on the court as well. But just really excited to also play with Kaylin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, like the player that, that I also say stuff on the court to them when I'm like playing against them. So, but I'm happy that I'm playing with them, not against them no more.
She's a competitor. She said, I obviously say some stuff when I'm playing against them, but I'm really glad that we're going to be in the battle together this time. So in other words, whatever was said, and we don't get to hear all that was said, but whatever was said out there, she said, we're throwing that away. We are on the same team right now. I like it. She's recognizing the big 3. Okay, number 4. It is clear, which should be obvious, but I know that there are some thoughts because of the heavyweight talent coming into Indiana, or now a part of Indiana. A lot of people are going to say, listen, make sure we understand that the team is built around Caitlin Clark. So if you had any doubts about it, you can hear what Kelly Crosskoff reinforced in my takeaway number 4.
Consistency and a style of play of how we want to play. I mean, I think it's, no secret. We have a point guard who, when you can build around a point guard that can make other players better and can get people the ball in places on the floor, that's a great way to start. And I think, a style of play, Stephanie, the three of us talked quite a bit about, how do you want to play? How do we want to build this run?
We've got a point guard who can get the job done, and we're building around Caitlin Clark. And speaking of that, let's move to takeaway number 5, and that is Natasha Howard and how excited she is to play with Caitlin Clark in particular, and why.
Kelsey, Caitlin in particular, what do you see from her game during her rookie year, and just what's an excitement level playing with someone like that who has just changed the whole landscape?
She can spread the floor by shooting. She could dictate the floor as a point guard. She's an amazing passer, so I can't wait to run the floor and get those passes. She just grown just this past season, just like how she take the game day by day, and also just learning from other players and stuff. So I'm just really excited to be a part of this team and also ready to catch her passes.
That's a baller. This is something that I said all last season, and so say I again. If you're a basketball player, you want to play with Caitlin Clark, because as well as she shoots, she's an even better passer, and she wants to pass the ball. We said before that she's a passer sometimes to a fault. At times, we talked about the number of shots she was getting last season, and it was like, Caitlin, take more shots. But she is looking to facilitate. And if you are a basketball player, you want to be on the receiving end of those passes. Make sure your hands are ready. Natasha Howard, I think she gonna be ready, because she said it twice there in the smile on her face. I can't wait to be on the end of those passes, on the receiving end. I can't wait to get my hands on her passes, because when Caitlin Clark cooks, everybody eats. It's one of the main reasons Kelsey Mitchell is back, because she likes to receive those passes. Caitlin is just going to set people up. And so that's my number 5, that, hey, get me at it. Get me at it. Get me at it, meaning the passes that Caitlin Clark delivers. So Natasha Howard's interview, if you have not checked it out, go check out the whole thing. Of course, I'm going to put the link in the description of this video, and you should watch the whole thing. It's not even that long, but it's really good, and I only covered some takeaways. But Natasha Howard comes with the humility, and she comes understanding that they're building around Caitlin Clark, and yet she also comes with leadership. And she talked in that interview about how she expects to utilize the leadership she has for the benefit of this team. So there are my thoughts. Hey, if you like the content here, and why wouldn't you? If you like the content here, I would love for you to hit the subscribe button. If you haven't done so yet, hit the like button, share with other people. Let's continue to grow. I'll catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.